Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. You'll notice that I have a microphone today and this was a birthday gift from my best friend Caroline. So thank you very much Caroline, because I absolutely love it and I hope this is going to improve the sound quality. There was nothing really wrong with it before, but I feel like a microphone just makes the quality just even better. So I hope that that will be the case. And of course she chose the pink one, which is literally perfect. So thank you so much, Caroline. I love it. Today, I'm actually so excited to film this video. Bit of background, I have been trying to film a video for a very long time, and I honestly just gave up because I was like, maybe because I've had a break from YouTube and Instagram, like posting content or even like writing content that I would potentially post, because I've been really just resting in the Lord. Um, because that's the most important thing. And the only way that I can film these videos or write those posts on Instagram is if I truly am rested in the Lord and if I focus on God first. So that's what I've been doing. And today I did feel called to filming a video, but I really struggled filming this. But then I realized it was because I wasn't speaking about the right topic. Because I did mention this in a previous video, but I don't pre-plan. I do write down different video ideas, but when it comes to sitting down, I have no clue what topic I'm going to speak on or anything. And I was trying to force other topics, which I'm sure I'll speak on in the future, but today was not that day. And I had my notebook, which I wrote about something that happened the other day to me, in there, and I had it opened at that page. And I just looked at the page and I was like, that is what I'm going to speak about today. Because this story that I'm about to share, it ties in with my favourite saint, who is Saint Therese. If you notice my YouTube name and my Instagram name, it's Isabel Therese. Therese isn't actually my middle name. My middle name is Evie. But when you get confirmed into the Catholic Church, you take a saint's name, and I chose Saint Therese as mine. And I'm going to start off with a story as to how I chose Saint Therese as my name. So before I even had stepped foot in a Catholic church, this was like February of 2025, and for reference, I went to Mass for the first time the end of August of that year. And I was on my break at work and I just stumbled. I don't know how. This is when you know that God is doing something for you, because you don't actually know how you got there. But I had stumbled across a news article about Saint Therese and her little way. And I was so inspired by what I was reading, particularly how Saint Therese operated. I just really resonated with when she spoke about living life simply, but doing small things, but with great love. And I really liked it because I think a lot of life is about striving and really kind of doing so much. And because you've done so much, that means that you have worth, because look at all that you've done, look at all you've achieved. But actually, through looking at the big picture, we forget about the small things that are really important. For example, smiling at someone down the street, or just having a conversation with a stranger, or just bringing some joy into the day. Maybe that's complimenting somebody on how they're dressing, choosing positivity over negativity, kind of all these things, kind of choosing encouragement, or even just choosing to stay quiet when you actually want to say something that perhaps you're going to regret later. So there's just so many small things that you can do that can really impact your day. And so I really resonated with this news article. I'm not going to be able to find it now probably, but if I do, I will link it below. Maybe I will. And at the end, there was this prayer to say, and I just said the prayer. Bear in mind, as I said, I was not Catholic, but from the moment I found God, I knew that I was being called to the Catholic Church. I was just ignoring this calling out of fear from actually going to church for the first time. Well, the article actually mentioned at the end that a lot of times when you pray this prayer, Saint Therese will show up and, give you a rose. And I was like, that's amazing, because I love flowers, I love roses. I was getting really into like gardening. And that same day, so I work in a restaurant, and it was, I believe, the day after Valentine's Day. And this family came in, and this little girl came in holding roses. And out of everyone, this girl holds up and gives me a rose the same day. The same day I prayed this prayer. So when we were doing the catechism classes at church, and our Monsignor of the church, who is our parish priest, mentioned choosing a saint, or perhaps the saint has already chosen you, I was already chosen by Saint Therese. I had never forgotten that moment. It's honestly one of the most beautiful moments I've experienced, and it encapsulates what Saint Therese speaks about, because it was such a simple yet loving moment. And that is really what I want to talk about in this video. I want to talk about how you can actually become more of a light in this world through simplicity and through doing things that are small but with great love. We live in an age that is all about moving fast. Oh, there's a cat. It's all about moving fast, being the most efficient that you can. And through this, we are losing out on our actually personalized, even in a sense, service to others, and being actually open and receptive to other people, particularly strangers. How many people do you see smiling at each other down the streets? You don't see that because everybody has their headphones in, and everybody's thinking about the email that they need to send when they go to work, or they're thinking about, I don't know, a small thing that they've seen on social media that's made them feel insecure, or I don't know, they're just in their own world. We've lost that sense of community spirit. And I am such a firm believer of being the change that you want to see. Okay, everybody else isn't going to smile down the street. Smile anyways. And you'll actually find that people will smile back. And if somebody doesn't smile back to you, then that gives you something that you can pray for, because maybe that person's having a really bad day and they've experienced some sort of hardships, and you can really use that as an opportunity to pray for them and think about them. But I do want to now share the story that I mentioned I was going to share at the start. And honestly, when I look back at this, I honestly, my eyes well up, because it was such a beautiful moment that happened to me a few days ago. So I was walking down the streets, and I was just organizing a few drawers in my room. So I went out to a shop to go and get some like little storage boxes. So it's on my way. And with God, I walk with peace. I walk with absolute peace. And I also walk with presence. I try my absolute hardest to be present in the moment. And of course, I will fall short. That's normal. But because of St. Therese's little way, it's stayed with me for so long. It's resonated with me so much that one of the ways that I follow this little way is I try my hardest to be aware of my surroundings, be aware of the people around me, particularly when I'm walking. Smiling at people and acknowledging people is a way that I implement St. Therese's little way in my life. And I was walking down the road, and I smiled at this gentleman who was about to walk past me. And the Holy Spirit just brought me back to him again, and I really, really smiled at him. At first I acknowledged him, and then I really, really smiled at him, made sure that I just spread some joy. And he approached me, and I know that some people are going to be like, this is so weird. This was so beautiful. He approached me and took my hand, which I voluntarily gave him. I held his hand as well. And he had what's called, I believe, a tracheostomy. I think that's how you pronounce it, tube in his neck. So he wasn't actually properly able to speak, yet he stopped, and I was really trying to pay attention to his words. And even though he was obviously suffering so immensely, he wasn't able to speak properly, he was still able to say and stop and say, you are so beautiful. And when I tell you, it was such a beautiful moment because this was a complete and utter stranger. And I know that modern day people, they would hear this story and they would think, oh my gosh, this is so inappropriate. A guy just held his hand out to you in public and said that you were beautiful. Like, I think we've, unfortunately, through particularly the feminism movement, that we've lost touch in actually humanity, because this moment was beautiful. This moment was not inappropriate. It was absolutely beautiful, and I walked away, and I just couldn't express my gratitude to my Lord, because he brought that he brought the whole situation together. And it wasn't the fact that he called me beautiful. Like, I was very, very grateful for that. But it's the fact that through his suffering and through his struggle, he still stopped and managed to say that to me. And I think that we are so quick in wanting to move through life so rapidly and be so efficient with absolutely everything that we do, we actually forget to stop, to experience life. And because we are in such a hurry and such a rush, we are not able to experience the beauty in simple, everyday moments, just like this one. And that is what this video, that is all I want to talk about in this video. There's no show-stopping, there's no show-stopping lines. There's no catchphrases. There's no clickbait here. I just want to talk about simplicity and actually smile. Just, if you're going to take one thing from this video, is to stop and smile at random people down the street. Start today. Take your headphones out, put your phone away, and be present. And just let the world unfold around you, and let God show his beauty in all things that he has created. And I think that is what I wanted to share. That is it. It's just to stop, to be more present, and to enjoy the everyday simple blessings that you get from just going outside and experiencing life. Be the change that you want to see is a phrase that I live by. And I think that I would love to film a video on more about this in the future, because following Christ means being different. It means following a narrow pathway. That narrow pathway is a pathway that not everybody else is on. You're going to stand out, not because you're attention seeking, but because you're following a different route to the rest of the world. And of course, sometimes that can be difficult, but there are so many ways that you can be different and you can make yourself stand out without not even meaning to, by just actually simply being kind and doing kind things, but with love in your heart. When I walk down the streets and I smile at somebody, I'm not only just smiling outwardly, but I'm smiling with my heart, because I just think it's such a beautiful moment that I'm probably never going to see that person ever again. Yet you've just shared this beautiful little exchange. So that is today's video. And it really just goes to show how, when you truly do trust in the Lord, that he will help you. Because I really struggled with filming today. I really, really did. I almost just gave up, but I just stopped and I said, Lord, what do you want me to film today? And he showed me the page in that journal of mine, reminding me of that story. And I knew that that is exactly what I wanted to speak about today. And I think that my channel, not always will I be, talking about really big things. The way that I live my life is actually through simplicity, but simplicity done with love. And I think that oftentimes we think that we have to kind of run really fast, run a marathon and be the fastest, and that's how we're going to seek God's will, and that's how we're going to seek God's love. But actually, God isn't asking you to run a race, because you're not in a race with anyone else. You're walking towards the Lord. And sometimes you need to take a big leap of faith, but often just those little steps, closer and closer and closer to his heart is all that you need to do. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope that there was something that you could take away from this video, however small, because as I've just shared in this video, the simple things are oftentimes the most effective. Thank you very much for watching. God bless.